Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing like a small collection overview. I realized that I actually have quite a lot of Pelikan pens and I thought I would show you all the Pelikan pens I have. Of course, I like consolidated my Pelikan pens with James's Pelikan pens, but to be fair, he only added 3. Most of them are mine. I am the collector in this house and he's not necessarily a collector, more just a user, which is probably better, but anyway. Let us go look at my Pelikan collection. Let's switch a shot and go ahead. All right, grabbed a notebook to have like a clean background, and I thought I would start with the first Pelikan I ever bought, and I bought this Pelikan at a pen show, first pen show I went to, and it is an old M200 in blue marble. And they have brought these finishes back. So recently they did the green, the pastel green one, which is also a marble effect, and they've also done a brown one. But this is one of the original M200s. It has the nib sticker still on it, which I always really enjoy. But it does not have the original nib on it right now. I switch nibs between these pens a lot. This is a modern M400 nib. It's a gold nib. The M200 generally does not come with the gold nib. It comes with a steel nib, which writes perfectly fine. But this is a gold nib that I have on here. Really enjoy this pen. I love the look of it. It looks really vintagey to me. There is a difference between the old M200s and the new ones, and that is mainly in the cap. So as you can see, the old 200s have double rings at the cap band and a different top. The clip has changed minimally, and then the chicks are kind of different. And then as you can see right here, there's a ring at the piston knob. The old 200 M200 does not have that. So I guess I'm going straight into the other kind of marbly one. This is the pastel green M200 with the white cap and the white piston knob. This one does have the steel nib on here, which is a nice nib. I have a bunch of extra Pelikan nibs because I like to switch them around. I can show you quickly how to actually do that. Want to unscrew a nib unit, you unscrew the whole unit from a Pelikan. What you do is put your finger on the nib, on the feed, and then I tend to twist the barrel instead of the nib. So you keep the nib steady and you twist the barrel. So you just screw it out. And yeah, so this is a modern nib, modern steel nib in a modern pen. This is a sort of vintage pen with a modern nib, works the same way. And then let's see, I have one Pelikan inked right now. I'll do a writing sample. It's an M400. And this is a modern pen, same size as the M200 or the M205. Slight differences at the cap band there. And these come with a gold nib. However, I wanted to use one of my vintage nibs, and so I put a vintage nib on a modern pen, and yes, that is possible. So you just unscrew it the same way. I'm not gonna touch it right now because it is inked. Yeah. It's very, very easy to do. I love this finish. I did have problems with this pen at first. The original nib was kind of a dud. I did not contact Pelikan or anything, or the person I bought it from, but I maybe should have, because it was a real butt of a nib. Anyway, that's the third one. We've seen these 3 so far. So 3 Pelikans so far. Let's just now move on to one that we have 2 of. So I combined James's Pelikan pens with mine. He doesn't have that many. He had 3, I believe. One vintage, one M800, and then a 120 or M120, the modern version of it. And it's funny to me because we both have this pen, same pen. I think I bought it for him as a gift. Don't completely remember, but I believe that's how it happened. But they're kind of different colors. They're kind of, one of them is kind of discolored, I guess. I don't know if it translates very well on the screen, but in real life, this one is a tad lighter. And it's really, really strange. Like there's a slight color difference. Anyway, these are sort of remakes of an old pen, the 120. They just bring you back to that era of rounded piston knobs, rounded caps. And the pen that I have that looks most like it is this one, which is a vintage pen. And this is a 140. It's a lot smaller, but the shape is very, very similar. Anyway, this is a modern pen. It was quite expensive. Don't remember the full price of it. Is there still ink in here? That needs to be cleaned out. Anyway, apparently I think there's water in there that is dirty, but I'll look at it in a second. It has a special nib. I don't know if it's gonna focus. Different scroll work on the nib than on the regular M200s, but it is a steel nib. So you don't really get anything that special for your money if you buy this one. I think they're cheaper now because people just didn't buy them because they're not that special. But anyway, we ended up with two. It was like a matching pen. It was on sale, so yeah, it's okay. Gotta put this in a separate place because there's stuff in there, and I did not know that. Is this one clean? Yeah, this one's clean. Yeah, life of a pen weirdo. Finding pens that aren't actually empty or clean. Yeah, this is my 140 vintage pen. It has a nib sticker that says KEF. I've talked about this pen before. It's a Kugel extra fine. My German is not great. But yeah, it is a vintage Pelikan 140 with a gold nib, 14K nib. This is a fine nib, a little flexible, not super flex, but very nice to write with. Small pen, smaller than the 200, I believe. Let me check that for you, or similar in size. Very similar in size, actually. Slightly smaller. I think this is my favorite nib on the vintage Pelis I have, honestly. This vintage nib is a double rod. Very nice, but like very sharp. Where do we go from here? M250. Like an M200, this is a burgundy. Burgundy never shows up properly on camera. Like a 200, but with a gold nib. 14K nib. And I wish you could see the color properly because it is really cool. This is also one of my favorites. It has a medium nib, but a broad nib sticker. I should really find a broad 14 karat gold nib so that it matches, but I haven't yet. Maybe someone will want to trade at some point. Modern M200, this is the rings. It's black with metal rings. Steel nib, this is an M205. M205 because it has silver trim. Not the most exciting pen, but a good writer, and I kind of like the design. And then let's go to one of James's Pelikan 400, the regular 400. So I have actually three vintage 400s, but mine are the 400 NNs, I believe. This is the 400. This is older than mine, I think. They changed the design at some point. Apparently this one was also not cleaned properly, or there's ink in the cap, and that is the more likely situation right here. This is one of the really old Pelikan nibs, and I kind of want to show you, so I'm gonna wipe this off because this has a different set of markings on it. This is one of the really old Pelikan nibs. And this one is very flexy. I've written it with it. It is scarily bouncy to me, but James loves it. And it is a really good writer, and it is a really nice example of the brown tortoise. It is lovely. Yeah, I think this is the oldest Pelikan in our collection. Yeah, super cool. Great pen. Will do some more cleaning on it. Let me quickly compare it to my brown tortoise. Mine has more bleaching, as you can see. Less brown, more bleaching. And this is a 400 NN with rounded piston knobs and rounded cap ends, basically. I don't know if they changed the chicks. My chicks aren't very visible. James's pen is just in better condition, even though it needs a little bit of a cleaning. Anyway, yeah, 400 NN, and then I have two more 400 NNs. This one had a messed up nib. I actually pulled the nib out of the collar. Don't do that lately, you might break the feed, but got it working. One of these, oh, this one had the double broad nib that's on my other pen. Lovely green color still, like does not seem to be discolored at all. Love it. Currently has a modern nib on it, a medium. That's my favorite modern 400 nib. Might ink this pen. And then another 400 NN. I'm trying to go through it because these are all the same. This one has that logo. I did a video on it recently. It was really cheap with an oblique broad nib, which is very interesting to write with. Also pretty decent finish. Didn't know if this was inked before or just never used and inked. Yeah. Super cool pens. If you look on German eBay, you can find some steals, which is how I do it. The Aquamarine M205 is possibly my favorite modern 200. It has silver trim. It is a demonstrator-ish pen. You can see me through it. And it's got that like aquamarine tealish color. Color doesn't show up very true on the camera, but it is a lovely, lovely pen. Wish I had the amethyst, the purple one, but that's like the holy grail. No one can get that now. And I'm not even hunting for it because it's so expensive. Only 600 in my collection is the violet stripe, and it is lovely. It was a gift from James. He spoils me rotten. And yeah, a lovely pen. Have done a video about this one, I believe. Great nib on that. It's a slightly bigger nib than the 400 nib. And yeah, it is great. This is my favorite size. I am fine with the 200 and 400 size. This is just slightly bigger and feels slightly more balanced in my hand. And then there's like a stack of them here. Then two big pens that I have a hard time writing with, but James is completely comfortable with. These are our M800 and M805, Ocean Swirl and Renaissance Brown. And this color is best shown off when the cap is off. And yes, these pens are gorgeous, but very heavy. And for me, kind of hard to use. They have really big nibs, and the nibs are great. Like, these are just really great pens. All right, my battery totally died because I've been talking about these pens for too long, but I just wanted to end off with a proper section on the M800. They're beautiful pens. They're very big, but they're well balanced. I would never post this pen. I think you can, but I'm not gonna because this Ocean Swirl finish is too special to mess up. Yeah, you can. I tried it on the piston knob, but I'm not gonna push it any further. These pens are lovely. We used to have two Ocean Swirls, but I sold one. I think I needed money. I don't know. Also, we don't need two Ocean Swirls. Like, it felt really greedy because people were really like into it. I did make a profit off this pen selling one of these. Feels kind of dirty, but whatever. Yeah. lovely pen, and then the Renaissance Brown. I'm realizing that we're having a little bit of a rainy day here. Trying to change the white balance a little bit so you can see it more clearly. Georgia and a rainy day. It does happen, but yeah. It is very lovely. Both of these are. Anyway, talked for a long time, found out that 2 pens aren't fully clean, so I'm gonna clean those. I will quickly do a writing sample with the double broad, the vintage double broad, so you know kind of what I'm talking about when I talk about vintage Peli nibs. Let me zoom in. So modern M400. I'm kind of angling the nib. This is a broad, a double broad, and if I put it straight onto the paper, you can see that there's some real line variation there. And it's not a flexible nib, but it does have some give. So there is some real fun to be had with vintage Peli nibs. And if you can find one at a decent price, I would say totally go for it. I'm still looking for a broad. So yeah, if anyone knows of a source that is cheap, because I don't really have that much money to spend with the wedding coming up, please let me know, because they are so much fun. And for being complete, this ink is Diamine Aurora Borealis, which is a lovely, lovely greeny ink. It's not my favorite. I prefer November Rain, because November Rain is more green. This is more teal, but it's a decent color. Yeah, thank you guys for watching this long video about all my Pelikan pens. Maybe I can fit them in the frame if I zoom out a little bit. You have to look at Alice screaming for a second. Okay, let me keep that row. Make like a little small row here. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 Pelikans in one shot. Hope you enjoyed. I found it fun to do. I didn't realize how many Pelikans we actually had. But yeah, they're fun pens. If you want vintage, keep an eye on eBay. That's where I buy all mine. Never overpay for them. Actually, I tend to stay under 100 euros, not $100, but 100 euros for these guys. So yeah, try to find some deals. Just scour the eBays. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.